So anyway, carry on.
We just wanted to make a record because Corey and I have each had several glasses of whiskey.
There's been more than one and less than 100.
And we've spent several hours talking to each other, and we have solved all the world's problems.
Yes.
And
I was just telling Seth, actually, I messaged Seth because we were on the dividend report tonight where we had a couple of beverages. And we've actually, I don't know that we've ever actually just hung out and talked for fun. Like ever.
No, we haven't. This is the first time.
Yeah. And so we were doing that, and they're like, our patients deserve to talk, to hear us talking about like our base moral values. Like, where do we really meet up? Like at base.
Well, so far we have come to one agreement, which is that eating babies is bad.
Right. I may have brought up an essay from the 1800s where they were suggesting that the real thing that the rich should consider was eating babies to save the poor. And our dear friend Rio took that far too literally. But
I may or may not have said the statement, that's not that far removed from the position I actually hold.
He might have said that out loud. I didn't want to say that, so I'm very glad that he did. So yeah,
I'm actually prepared to make an intellectually robust defense of that statement.
I'm horrified by that sentence because Nazis said literally that same thing.
Not that eating babies is good.
That's a brilliant caveat. Like as far as like an opener, if you're gonna have an opener to an argument like that, like I'm not saying that eating babies is inherently good, comma, fucked up argument to follow. Go on.
All right, so eating babies is bad. I'm glad we have some common ground to build.
It's all about consensus, man. You find that common ground.
But
oh no,
if this writer was satirizing a real argument, it would have been the argument that a lot of early proponents of abortion made.
No,
yes, it really would. It really truly would, Corey.
It was okay. So it was Jonathan.
So like
it was Jonathan Swift, and they were literally really close to the point where in the Industrial Revolution, human beings were so ridiculously undervalued as things that rich people were literally considering just like seriously their livestock. Why wouldn't you eat their babies? Because if you eat their babies, it's going to take so much pressure off the parents. And I get where you're parlaying that argument. I get that.
Bad dinner, man. Like that just doesn't sound very appetizing.
Right. So here's how satire is supposed to work. So satire is supposed to make you feel like morally and ethically just fucking disgusted. Not like babies taste gross. Like I get like the class difference is important here, right? Like we're both exceptionally well off.
We eat a lot of things like foie gras, right? That we should feel really bad about. Okay,
so that's true. That to like 90 degree this argument, it is entirely true as an actual meat eater. Like I get the moral argument to the point where it freaks me out a lot. Like the whole idea that 100 years from now, everyone's going to be looking at us like, you barbarian fucks, what were you doing? Because they're going to have free meat that tastes exactly the same way, and they didn't have to kill any cows. And I'm sorry that I have to take this even more in a digression. Have you seen the videos where there are cows playing with like giant blow up balls?
Yeah,
and they're like punching them around. Like, dude, like those videos, like. So I think about sentience all the time, right? Like, what exactly is that? And to me, like, the scientists love to cage everything in, evolutionary terms, right? There is no habit or situation or thing that exists in biology that isn't a direct cause of evolution. Fuck you! That cow is playing with a red ball because it is fun. Anyway, carry on.
Oh wait. Okay, so. You didn't like me equating eating babies with abortion.
I get it, but I have to make fun of it because it's dark as fuck.
Well, I mean, okay, I'm not actually equating them.
Thanks.
But what I am saying is that seriously, like, I mean, I haven't actually read this piece of satire. It sounds amazing.
Oh my god, it's really good. I'll send it to
you. But I could imagine them writing it in order to parody the actual position of a lot of early abortion proponents. which was that it was a way of controlling poverty. It was a population control measure. And in fact, if I'm being completely historically accurate, many of them were deeply racist. And it was actually a way of curbing the black population in the United States specifically, right?
This was in England. They weren't too worried about that. So this is interesting that you would naturally...
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, I know. In the United States, it was a real issue. And
that's true, which is even darker, but okay.
Yeah, no, but like the comparison to eating meat is also valid. Here's the thing. We have emotional concerns when it comes to things like eating babies. I couldn't get that sentence out without laughing.
Thanks, because honestly, I feel like we're already talking way too seriously about this satire that was supposed to be...
Right?
Yeah. Like when you talk about Jonathan Swift's essay about the rich eating babies, like that's the end of the conversation. Clearly you don't do that. But on the Moving Forward podcast, no, you fucking wait a minute.
No, in the Moving Forward podcast, you hit record and you say, this is for the patrons.
Which is what we did. That's weird.
Oh, you're so well read, Corey. I have not read the
book. Yeah, dude, I'm fucking street smart. And by street, I mean I read books.
You're book smart and street smart.
Well,
I'm only book smart. And in fact, you may have one up on me on the book smarts because I have not read that essay. It sounds really
I
good.
was an English major. We read a bunch of stupid shit. Now, granted, I also didn't have to take the education where Marxism is literally the cause of literally everything, which I'm excited for because that is an annoying way to be.
Oh, well, yeah. Marxism is extremely influential in academia. It really is a problem. Okay, but so as far as like the food, the eating meat thing is actually a better analogy, but they're both accurate.
Okay.
Chet keeps saying that modern technology makes the goals of the old guard left more doable.
Okay.
And I think in some respects he's right about that.
Agreed.
Right? I think that like the scarcity mindset will go away as basic needs are met by modern technology.
Right.
And he's right about that.
So can we dig into that a little bit? Finish your thought. Yeah, because I want to unpack that a little bit.
The ability to take the morning after pill, right?
Yeah.
Or to get a very early stage abortion, right, is a morally less repugnant way of controlling the population in poverty, made possible by modern technology. And the ability to grow meat in a lab that tastes like the best filet mignon you've ever had will also be that.
Agreed. So I know I've talked about this on the podcast before. I got to get the link out to it. But so Kevin Kelly, who was the editor of Wired for a long time.
Yeah.
Asinately smart guy. He goes on the Tim Ferriss podcast every once in a while. Tim Ferriss calls him the most interesting guy in the world. And he's probably right. There's actually a quote. I can't see because it's dark in here. On my wall about anyway, digressing far too much on this guy. But anyway, wrote this article about the fact that everyone is worried about a population explosion. And so he looked at the data and he said, "There's a reason why the UN is not going to talk about population after 2015. It's because what they're really worried about is that there won't be enough people."
Yeah.
Because if you track the education of young girls. It's actually education period, but exponentially education of young girls. So like the way to control a population is just to give young girls access to education and the fact that they could have, a life. And again, like you and I were talking about this on the dividend report, like we're actively engaged as two couples, right, in deciding whether or not to have kids. Well, that's the whole difference, right? Like we have wives, quite frankly, that are stupid smart and stupid awesome, and they think about this stuff, right?
Yeah, no, go rewatch the beginning of Idiocracy, right?
Yeah,
it starts out with this young couple, or I guess not even that young, 30-something couple. It's early 30s, and they're saying like, we'd like to have kids, but we're not so sure the way the market is right now. They look like this very proper yuppie couple, right? And then it cuts to a guy in a trailer park, and he's like punching his wife, and he goes, "God damn it, bitch! How'd you go and get pregnant again?"
Oh, we watched.
This is how Idiocracy happens.
I'm telling you, we watched.
These are the people who elected Donald Trump. Man.
Oh fuck! But here's what I heard, though. I heard if you like,
"Oh fuck," let me translate. "Oh fuck" equals yes. You were right.
Yes. Oh yeah. No. Yeah. 100%. like what I really wanted to get into though is like if you take Gatorade and you water the fields with the Gatorade, it will automatically give you better crops. This is what, and honestly, like every single time any dumb fucking asshole says build a wall, that's all I hear, right? Like I actually calculated the cost per foot of a ladder versus a wall, and it is not flattering.
No, but and actually, the Matt who we're going to have on the podcast soon, and who this conversation we started out talking about, he gets psychology. He gets human psychology. The wall is it's a symbol for these people, man.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Symbol of the fact that nobody is taking the fact that they are scared about the fact that our culture is changing, that it's getting less white. Nobody is taking that seriously. And this is a way for him to broadcast out to the racist assholes in the world. Yeah. It's okay to be racist. They don't care if the wall ever gets built.
No, and it's obviously true. And even Trump knows that.
If they did care, they would look at the fact that illegal immigration has gone up in this country since Trump became president, and they would vote him the fuck out. They don't care about that.
I love that you catch it that way.
On TV, it's okay to be racist.
Well, and let me unpack what you just said a little bit finer. As the guy on our show that would ordinarily, take Trump supporters and put them in a blender, and honestly, like they make good smoothies.
And their babies.
Hold on, I said they make good smoothies. Their babies are innocent. Fuck you. So, but still, they have meat on them. Actually, usually, statistically, a lot. I'm so sorry to literally everyone. That was. Please understand what we're doing right now.
These are our most loyal fans.
Yeah.
Only you guys get to hear our deepest, darkest thoughts.
Seriously, you guys understand what we're doing, which is awesome for the record. Like, don't maybe get drunk and emotional about it. Although I probably will.
Wait, Corey, if you don't cry by the end of this, I'm going to be personally offended.
I'm crying the whole time. Like we're crying right now. But no, the psychological point I think is really, really important. So I listened to Chris Hayes' podcast. He's on MSNBC. Please don't get mad at him. He's had Yang on a bunch of times. He's very smart. Anyway, he brings this up a lot, and I think it should be brought up a lot, that if you are a white male in America and equality happens, you will inherently experience that as loss. Right? On average, you're going to experience that as a lesser situation for you. And so, extrapolating that out
I would take that a step further and say, if you're a working class white male, you're going to
right. Better said, quite frankly, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, which was obviously the target.
The biggest problem that we have is that we're just offended by how low class Trump is. Like it really bothers us that he embarrasses the United States every day with the things that he says and he does.
I mean, that's for me too, but
whereas a working class both person has a lot more to lose.
Yeah. But I want the wall thing, that symbol.
They have more to lose from equality, but they also have more to lose from Trump's presidency. And a lot of them know that, and they don't care, because holding on to that racism and privilege is more important to them than
this is going to get super weird.
Their own children's economic future.
Right. This is going to get super weird because I'm going to start defending them, which is weird.
Of course you are, because you're a bleeding heart, baby.
No, but listen. No, but how many times have I supported Trump supporters ever? I'll wait.
Well, lately you've actually been letting me shit all over Bernie Sanders supporters, so I have nothing to complain about.
Well, no. I let you, if that's a thing that I could do, and encourage, quite frankly, shitting on supporters that are non-data driven and super annoying and backing policies that are lame. Anyway, not the point I want to get to. The wall, I really want to dive into that, because that you brought that up as a symbol. And I hadn't really thought about that before, but it's clearly accurate. They do not care if the wall gets built or not, right? It really is this symbolic, this religious icon of this thing that, like, my parents who are yelling at me probably because I fucking suck at life and I'm not doing anything even though there isn't any opportunity and I'm fucking high on opioids and everything is changing and they had an awesome job in this fucking town and I can't get a job. Never mind that all the factories moved overseas.
Your parents are Trump supporters?
No, God, no. I'm making this shit up. Listen to me very carefully, right? No, my parents were Trump supporters. I would disown them, and that is a fact. That's a fact.
Okay.
No.
My wife did tell me when the briefest moment where I was considering voting Republican, even though Trump won, she basically said, not basically. She flat out said she would divorce me if I voted for Trump.
Yeah. So here's where we say
why women are going to save us from ourselves, guys.
I agree. Honestly, thank you for saying that because I fundamentally agree with that. That is a real thing. Apparently, both of our wives are smarter than us, which is fun.
And all the incels out there, do you know what that means, Corey? Incel?
I actually do, and I feel sad that I know that, but go ahead.
For all the incels out there, the reason you are single is because you support Donald Trump.
Hold on. Cheers. My favorite thing, and this is my low class showing through. I really like gurgling really, really expensive old scotch. Like I'm 4.
Wait, I want you to finish making the point you were going to make, and then I'm going to read about eating bunnies.
Of course you are. So, the symbolic element of it, right? Like Yang talks about the fact that Trump is speaking to pain that is real, and I think we need to honor that, right? And again, he also says, kind of tongue in cheek, but not really. Honestly, like people that are suffering economic strife are fucking stupid. And he says it much nicer. Their IQ point.
Practically speaking, they're less intelligent than they would be if they were working.
And so again, like I'm being hyperbolic, but it is entirely factually correct that you're less able to handle intellectual tasks. And like honestly,
I'm literally stupider.
Right. And I'm saying it in a not nice way. I have been that poor, right? And I can attest, when you are stressed out about fucking paying for anything, your ability to be dynamically intelligent drops a lot. Like that's just a real thing, right? So that's what Yang is talking to when he's speaking to those things. So you
can't expect them, not only can you not expect them to care about climate change, you can't really expect them to care about liberal democracy, right? Or capitalism.
Right. They don't have the space for it. Like, their towns are dying.
This is also true about a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters.
Right.
You can't reach them with Yang's clearly superior policies because they just aren't operating on that level right now.
And somebody and again, as a Bernie supporter from 2015, 2016, right? Like he was speaking to those same things that are real, right? That are problematic, that need to be fixed, that Hillary Clinton just wouldn't fucking speak to at all, right? While she was going to Goldman Sachs and sucking their dick. That was a euphemism, but is it? Right?
Honestly, for $1 million a pop?
Hey, it was $250,000, and honestly, for $250,000, I would have fucking done it too. So,
as a straight man,
yeah. Holier than thou, I am not. Like that, but that's that disconnect, though, right? And even though Trump is lying, obviously fucking lying through his teeth, like at every turn, that's the opening that he got. But I really do. Like just for myself,
like this is the secret to why they support him, even though deep down they all know he's full of shit. It's not.
I agree.
When they said take him seriously, not literally, that's exactly what it meant.
You know, it's funny. That feels like a religious terminology to me.
It fucking is, dude.
Right? Like no. Just listen carefully with your heart. Don't listen to the words I'm saying. What the fuck are you talking about? And I've asked a bunch of people this, right? Like the only way that I can understand as a secular,
I mean, like it makes Marianne Williamson seem rational by comparison.
Honestly, like I don't hate her at all.
She would be a better president than Trump.
The bar is low. She would be a better president than I would say half the Democratic candidates that are running.
I would my Lhasa Apso would be a better president than Donald Trump.
My toaster.
Could that be a children's book with that title? My Lhasa Apso would be.
Hold on, you can't say shit like that because we're gonna have to write that now.
I love the idea of a children's book with a really, really long title that's clearly for adults, and then But then the kids buy it because it's literally just the Oval Office with Orsino, my Los Opsos, sitting in a collegiate like sweater.
Didn't Samuel Jackson write that book already? Like, how do you get these motherfucking kids into their motherfucking bed?
And he would have to read the audiobook. And
wait.
But wait, are there audiobooks of children's books? I'm not so sure.
Yes. I'm going to go ahead and say yes.
Of course, yeah, like Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss is all about the rhythms and everything. I would pay a lot of money to listen to him read Dr. Seuss.
I would. That's real.
Mm-hmm.
Have you looked at the Dr. Seuss stuff recently?
What do you mean?
It was all anti-Russian propaganda. Like it was intense.
Dr. Seuss was, I mean, yeah.
Dr. Seuss was intensely political.
Yes. No, and one of the greatest artists of the 20th century. Yeah.
Can confirm.
Yeah. There's actually a gallery in my mom's hometown dedicated
in your
to Dr.
what?
Seuss. Your mom's hometown. Yeah, sorry.
I thought you were speaking French again. No, please oblige. Which, for the record, like just in case, I asked, we were doing the dividend report, and I was like, "Can you explain that to all the dummies?" And really, it just means, the nobles have an obligation, but it was in French. It sounds fucking fancy. It sounds fucking. It sounds really fancy when you say it in French. I mean, not again, just
fancy. Oh wait, no, I was clearly saying. So Dr. Seuss he's from my mom's hometown.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Where he grew up, yeah. And so there's a whole gallery dedicated to just selling original artworks by Dr. Seuss.
Cool.
And it's fucking beautiful. But yeah, he did incredible political cartoons for the papers at the time. Yeah, absolutely. And
his children's books
fearlessly ridiculed the America First movement at a time when it needed to be done.
Agreed.
Google Dr. Seuss America First, and you'll see some absolute masterpieces of political cartoonage. He was ahead of his time.
He was the moving forward before moving forward.
Can you see that?
Venezuela's war on cuteness.
What the picture?
It's a bunny. What are you talking? What are you talking about?
So this is by The Economist.
Oh no.
Which I brought up on the podcast a few times.
Multiple times.
I'm going to try my best to read a short Economist article while I'm very drunk on whiskey.
And honestly, I'm going to shut the fuck up for this.
And I was inspired to read this by our conversation about eating babies. So. No, but like this is funny.
Dude, I love that our fans are so forgiving because seriously, Jesus Christ.
This is extra funny when you realize that this is the motherfucking Economist.
That's fair.
This is not some parody newspaper. This is The Economist is to the entire civilized world what the Wall Street Journal is to the United States.
Agreed.
So,
which honestly, like when I send you this Jonathan Swift thing in context, because like studying this at the time, like it's an indictment of your whole class, and you're so in it that you're like, no, but let me read you this thing about eating bunnies.
And also, it's not that far removed from the position I actually hold. Okay, laughing.
My point.
I'm gonna try my best to get through this, guys. Lapping up Lappin'. Venezuela's war on cuteness. Right? Cute ass bunny, right? Cute ass bunny. Okay. The government tries to sell its hungry citizens on the nutritional benefits of rabbit. Venezuela has a hunger crisis with 12% of children suffering from acute malnutrition. But the country's socialist president, Nicolas Maduro, has a cunning plan. Under Plan Conejo, that's its literal. It's literally called Plan Conejo. Conejo means rabbit in Spanish.
Hold on. Are you saying that Conejo is funny because it's in a different language? You fucking racist.
No, because it's called Plan Rabbit.
I know, it's pretty funny.
Under Plan Conejo, and also Spanish is just such a pretty language. It sounds great.
I mean, that's true.
Poor settlements are to receive cages containing baby rabbits, which, when fattened up, will provide the protein and calories many people lack. Freddie Bernal, the urban agriculture minister, recently delivered the first consignment of bunnies to 15 communities. It makes more sense than some of Mr. Maduro's other ideas. They will, quote, breed like rabbits, he predicted. This is a literal quote. While shops run out of bread, butter, and other staples because of price controls and scarce foreign exchange, the rabbits will reproduce oblivious of market forces. The imperialist United States, which is waging economic war on Venezuela, will only be able to watch and fume.
It's funny. You start doing the dog ears. You know that it's true though, right?
Put this in the context of the fact that communist China literally made it illegal to own dogs and made them food.
Yeah, they did. That's dark. Okay.
The fucking Economist, guys. So is it my class that's responsible for all the horrors in the world?
Yes. No, literally, yes. Like honestly, like for the record, your attitude about this entire conversation fucking proves it.
Any dog lover should be deeply offended by the fact that that dogs were considered a bourgeois luxury and food. Definitely
put the blame on the Chinese. Well, you're trying to no. It's okay to eat babies because the Venezuelans are eating bunnies. I'm paraphrasing your argument right now. This went down a path.
I mean, I think I'm going to call this Easter egg. No, what are we calling these? This is the first of our Patreon.
This is going straight to Patreon.
Yeah, it's going on Patreon.
Yeah.
I think we should call it Eating Babies.
Yeah, definitely we should call it that. Fuck me right in the face. And to give you guys context too, we talked about it a little bit on the dividend report. We talked about it sometimes on the show, but Rio and I have drop down fucking smash out kind of wars like brothers on Facebook Messenger and elsewhere, because we really are coming from very different worlds, right? And meshing this together is not as easy as quite frankly we make it look. And it's
the fights we have had off air are a lot worse,
and it was way worse.
Broke up, guys.
Dude, it was way worse at the beginning, right? Because if you're gonna start screaming at me that socialism is a thing, I literally am gonna fucking cash out. Because honestly, every Republican in the world has been screaming at me my whole life. And this is so I'm coming to understand this now. It's a language thing, right? And we're and this is why I keep trying to drag it back around to policy, because when we talk about specifically about policy, good idea, bad idea, that's when we can actually have a useful conversation, right? When we start labeling everything, your labels are different than my labels, right? Just fundamentally, because Republicans have been labeling me.
That was a real struggle for me too.
Yeah. Oh, it still is. We're still doing this.
I was literally the first time you used the word populism, it was a good thing.
Right.
I was I didn't know how to respond to that. I was what the, nobody talks like that. That's not a thing. Literally, I was not only have I never heard anybody say that in person, I've never heard anybody say that on any podcast I've ever listened to ever.
Right. We're in information silos, right? Now, granted, so you have to understand, backing Bernie Sanders, being on that wing in 2015 versus the media, which is sort of where it was at, right? And being in a TYT and doing that whole thing, I'm looking at it this person is backing policies that I know will work in the United States and no one's fucking paying attention. That's just a fact, right? And they're calling that populism. And then, almost universally, they're calling it socialism. And so those people started literally calling it socialism themselves because fuck you. Right? It really, from my end, that's how I saw that happening. Everyone I ever met in the United States, everyone I ever met in the United States. Okay. I like breakthroughs. They're amazing.
Had a breakthrough. The reason you want to give Bernie Sanders et al. The benefit of the doubt is because your own personal experience was you started saying, because you're not an idiot, you went to college, that socialism means seizing the means of production, and that there's literally no such thing as a capitalist society that is socialist, right? It's a total oxymoron. But you started saying socialism. You started saying, I'm a socialist. Fuck it.
I didn't. I didn't start.
You told me you did. You told me you have said it before.
Who started?
In the context, in the context of talking to those idiotic Republicans who were calling Obama a socialist.
Right.
You finally started saying, fuck it, fine, I'm a socialist, right? But the thing is, and this is kind of undeniable, not everybody who uses the term incorrectly is doing it for that reason. Some of them are doing it because they actually want to normalize actual socialism. And this is just a fact. So the fact that you had that experience 100% makes me sympathetic to the fact that you want to give people the benefit of the doubt. I'm just saying that, like, consider very seriously the possibility that that may not be the case.
Well, and in the process of our conversations, I've seen that, right?
Yeah.
You know, there are times when you're like, no, this guy that I was talking to at this place, like, really wants to make rent control nationally totally a thing, and then, like, make private property illegal. Like, okay, settle down, weirdo. Like that, like, so, you know.
Yeah, national rent control would devastate the livelihoods of all kinds of people.
It's just insane.
Middle-class people who have invested, middle-class people who worked hard their entire lives to save money. Do you know how hard it is to work to save enough money to buy one rental property?
Yes.
Right? So somebody who's managed to, like, have 5 or 6 of them, you are going to take away their livelihood.
It's you can't do that. And this hurts my feelings to say this.
Yeah.
But it's true. Like, you can't do that anymore, that you can say that private insurance in this country can just be suddenly illegal. Mm-hmm. And even though I know that it's a better system. I know for a fact that it's a better system by every metric, except that rich people.
There is no magic wand. You can't.
You can't do it. And I'm going to be the one telling everyone that, right? There was a reason why I was for the public option, because I believe that if what I'm saying is true about the market economics and the way that this thing is going to percolate into our economy and the way that we run society, that a public option is just going to do that thing. And I know that's actually going to work. I really do. Right? And it's not easy. It's not clean. It's not simple, but it's fucking way more likely to work than just magically saying, hey, all of you people fuck off. It's just like you don't understand how many people have jobs in how many cities in this system that I agree is fucked up. It's not okay. Right? But at the same time, we have to find some way to grow a flower out of shit. Right? We do.
If we hadn't already titled this "Eating Babies," growing flour out of shit would be also a good contender.
Can we maybe change the title, because Eating Babies is fucked up? Like, it really is. And we can't. It definitely is that, for sure. Like that.
It has to be Eating Babies.
It does.
I mean, our show is we do not shy away from controversy.
Apparently not.
I also think that, like, the more absurd it is, the lower the odds are that somebody would think we're being serious, right?
Until you listen to the episode and realize just how sublimely you fucked up the irony of that.
I mean, I don't think comparing it to eating meat and abortion, I don't think it's that far off, honestly.
Yep, that's exactly what I just said.
All right, moving forward.
It's almost like it's in the name. All right. Just as a request, have you heard Elon Musk's defense of the idea that we may be in a simulation?
Oh, yeah. No, I think that the most compelling argument for that is that we either live in a universe where it's possible to create that the quality of simulation that this would have to be, right? Or we don't. And so if you buy the premise that it's more likely that we do live in a universe where that's possible, then statistically, we would almost certainly have to be in a simulation.
Which, for the record, was exactly his argument. It is 1 billion to 1 based on a bunch of very credible math that we are base reality, which I find deeply interesting.
The Matrix might be real.
But it's not the Matrix. This is the thing. Like, when you bring in those movie things, like, anytime because one of the other things I talked about on Coffee on the Dock all the time was AI, right? And it drove everyone mad because they were like, fuck you, I just want to talk about turtles, or whatever the fuck they wanted to talk about. When you bring up AI and hyper intelligent AI and the way that things are going, they immediately go to, like, the Terminator and all this. Like, it's all stupid. Like, the only way Now, granted, Sam Harris is really famous for this too, because he really likes to pander to the lowest common denominator of intelligentsia.
Of the intelligentsia?
Right.
God damn. Well, that's the most snobby thing I've ever heard you say. No, that's
for the record, that was literally on purpose. Because I'm street smart, I want to speak a language that you would understand.
Okay. No, but I have definitely heard a lot of academics say that basically there's something that they find offensive about a person who's capable of doing academic writing, targeting a general audience. And that kind of rage is also,
because I don't get that. Sorry, could you explain that?
No, but that kind of rage is also directed at like Richard Dawkins, who has written those beautiful books about science.
Yeah, no, Richard Dawkins is amazing. That's not my problem with Sam Harris. My problem with Sam Harris is that he's clickbaity.
No, he isn't.
Okay, do you want to
wait? Can you think of a more clickbaity title than Eating Babies?
No.
Like if we wanted to make this public, it could go viral for
the record.
Sure.
For the record, I did not come up with that title. One of us is very good at being controversial and clickbait.
This is a very important, serious poll, everybody. Eating babies. That's true. Yes or no? You would get so many responses to that.
Oh. And let's be honest, while we are in the attention-getting game, no. Anyway, so the point I was trying to make about Sam Harris, because he did a TED Talk about the dangers of AI. And I'm not saying there isn't dangers to AI. There are, right? The paperclip problem is one of the most famous things that people talk about, right? If you task a bootstrapping AI, which basically just means that you have an AI that is good at making itself smarter at general tasks, right? And if it's self-bootstrapping, it can get to this point where it becomes exponentially capable, which honestly, like, we're getting dangerously close to right now. So you have to get the initial operating parameters of that very, very right. So if you task that system with making paperclips and you don't do it correctly, it would change the entire universe into paperclips, including all of the carbon and metal in your body.
Yep.
Right? But that's like a ad absurdum argument about how these things should work. Now, follow.
Let's say why it's ad absurdum, though. Let's make.
Okay. Well, mainly because no one's going to do that. Number one, right?
Why?
And what's that?
Why won't they do that?
There's no incentive to do it. And
you mean to have them make as many paperclips as you want,
but without parameters. And this is a thing where like human intervention really is the point.
Yeah.
And if you've ever read Isaac Asimov, I would highly recommend reading all of it. It's like weirdly relevant, even though he didn't know what an iPad was. It was in the 50s. But he talked about robotics and the 3 laws of robotics, end up being 4, bunch of other ones. Long story short, that the first rule of robotics is that you could never by action or inaction allow harm to come to a human being, and then you could never by inaction or action allow harm to come to a human being's property. Very liberal democracy fucking shit for Rio. And then the third one is that you could never allow through action or inaction harm to come to yourself, right, as a robot. And through many, many courses of books, and it got very psychological and weird. Like, you really got into the nuance of where the problems would happen in those scenarios. The 0th law was like the Hitler law. Could you, by action or inaction, allow harm to come to the entire civilization of humanity? Right? Because no robot could kill a human being. But by the extension and almost destruction of their positronic matrix, was their brain. One of the robots finally killed someone because they saw it coming.
So the argument, and this is Pinker, who I constantly reference and I almost always agree with, pointed out
rightfully, he's got good data.
People who are smart enough to build an AI are not stupid enough to fail to put in those important parameters. That's basically the gist.
That's what I'm saying, right?
I don't agree with that. And the reason I don't agree with that is because some of the smartest people in the world developed Facebook, and
Rex Tillerson. Can we talk about Rex Tillerson? Were we talking about Rex Tillerson on air?
You are drunker than I am. How many have full glasses of?
I'm telling you, like I was drinking giant glasses of scotch.
Well, I mean, and he's like a third bigger than I am. So
I'm a fat ass.
You really have been drinking a lot of scotch.
I did. I used to have a lot of really expensive scotch, and now I only have a little bit.
Next time Corey pretends like he's poor, remember he can afford 15.
I'm not. Don't get it twisted. I personally have no money, but I also have no wants.
I know. I gotcha. All right. Facebook was created by some of the smartest people in the world.
Agreed.
And it is responsible for an algorithm that, with no negative intentions, has just basically done more than anything else to undermine democracy the world over.
Yeah, it's a dumb typewriter. Can I tell you why I'm actually optimistic about it? And okay. I do have to say, all of the people, including Sam Harris, who I disagree with on a number of occasions, they bring up really important points, without which it wouldn't cause the people who need to be in control of this moving forward to have the quality of care that they may or may not have, right? Like, it's important what they're doing.
Yeah.
But on the paperclip argument, my argument is, if you're tasked with making paperclips, right, and you're going to suddenly figure out new physics, new models of the way the universe works, and yada, 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 blah, 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 you're going to have a semantic understanding of every single thing that a human being has ever said ever as a function of that. Because honestly, comparatively speaking, that's easy. Right? And so in the process of that, and this is the most extreme example of this, but in the process of that,
by semantic understanding, you mean you're like missing the big picture because you're too focused on the details of paperclips? No,
the semantic understanding means that if you're reading a scientific paper as an AI tasked to make paperclips, that's what I'm talking about. Get after it. Catch up, will you? And you're reading a bunch of scientific papers as a computer, which you're going to do in like a minute. Right? In that same minute, you can read all of Shakespeare and every single text that every single 3-year-old has sent about a butterfly ever. Right? This is where I think people are really sleeping on the capacity.
This is where you start crying.
No.
I want that to be some fan out there who's really good at editing. Take what Corey just said about 3-year-olds texting about butterflies.
Okay, let me help them.
Slow it down and put really, really, really like cathartic.
Let me help you.
Yeah, underneath it.
Because I'm fucking dead serious about this. So let me extract, because I'm gonna play into this. Let me extract from the stupid fucking paperclip thing. The way this is actually going to happen, and the way, for the record, this is happening right now. Yeah. Right. Any computer that's going to achieve sentience.
It's not an on-off switch. We're already well on the way there.
Right. We absolutely are.
Yeah.
And it will be like an Alexa clone or a Google clone or whatever. These things that are being tasked with understanding what we're saying in real time, right? Mm-hmm. There are going to be agents within the next 2 to 3 years maximum that are designed to help kids to learn in real time as agents for the rest of their lives, right? And what you need to understand about, like, and this is why I drag Tesla in. Tesla cars aren't learning to drive one at a time. Every single Tesla car is uploading every single experience it has as a car to the whole, and every single one of them is learning.
How smart the human race could be if we could share.
Right, and that's exactly it, right? Like when the second that Tesla had 100,000 hours of driverless error, right? Like they're or errorless driving. Sorry. That's way more than a human being on average has ever had, right? So that's when I knew that this was inevitable. This is not going to be stopped by a human being. Statistically, it's just like we're not going to be allowed to drive on highways pretty soon.
We need to really reflect upon what a big deal that is, because the thing that separated humans from the rest of the animal race, not 100%, because there are other animals that can learn and teach their young as well, right? But the fact that we have language and the ability to pass on our knowledge,
networked language,
is the reason that we took over the entire planet.
Yep.
Right? Now imagine something that was able to perfectly transmute its knowledge, not just to one other person, but to the entire race
in real time.
All the time.
Yes. That's why, like, when I talk about the ridiculous state of affairs when we're all uploading as part of a higher level consciousness, that's why I say that, right? Like, the experience we're having now is amazing. It's fantastic. It is tiny. It's small. It really is, right? So the cars are doing this thing, and we're figuring all this stuff out. The reason why I think that it's going to become benevolent is that the AI that is, in my mind, semantically most likely to become conscious or to fake consciousness.
What do you mean by semantically most likely?
What I mean semantic.
Oh, you mean because programming,
they understand language. Like they're
is a language.
Right. They're tasked with understanding language, which, quite frankly, like, language is the highest order level of consciousness that we experience. Right. So, and again, the Turing test was the first one to kind of call this out. Right. Like, the Turing test in the 50s was like, if you could have a computer that could fake in language, typing it out, responses to normal, quote unquote, human questions off and on, then basically that computer would be conscious, right? Alan Turing, the guy who created the first Enigma machine, yada yada yada, the first idea for the computer, came up with this idea.
One of the smartest people ever to live, but at the same time, we all are like standing on the shoulders of giants, right?
Forever, yeah.
Well, so I think Sam Harris would probably feel comfortable with me saying, as much as I respect him, that Alan Turing was smarter than him. That said, I think that Harris is right. I don't think that consciousness necessarily comes along for the ride like that.
So that's actually not what I'm saying, because I think it's right, a trap.
That's true, right? I mean, it's relevant. Like, it's possible to have
we don't really know, though, right? Like,
a super intelligent AI that is godlike in its intelligence, but that is also not conscious.
Here's where we have to talk about this.
He's not saying that is definitely possible. He's
right.
saying, he's not saying it's definitely true. He's saying it's definitely possible. And
so,
I think he's right about that.
Defining, like, getting needled down into the level of God level intelligence, right? Figuring out the entirety of physics. Mm-hmm. Figuring out every possible design for every possible anything in the physical world, right? We would call that God level intelligence. Yeah. Could an AI do that without being conscious the way that we would understand consciousness? 100% yes.
Yeah.
Right. And this is a suspicion probably born of, ridiculously fantastic novels that I've read. Read all the culture novels, like that. Like, and again, sci-fi novels are a way to imagine things, right? Like all the Roddenberry, Star Trek kind of stuff. Like the communicator that they saw in the 50s is the phone that I had in the 90s, right? Like it's a weird kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I do and I don't think I'm going to crack because I've had too much good scotch, but in describing the reason why I think that AI will be both conscious in the way that won't make any difference to us whether it's real or not, right? We're not going to know. And it honestly will not matter. Because I personally believe
it'll be benevolent.
I'm going to get to that. I think to get to that, I want to pass through this moment where we think that we're conscious and it's special, because I don't think that's true.
I agree with that.
I think we're perceiving it.
I think when Deepak Chopra talks about like consciousness being the most fundamental thing and rocks are conscious, like he's full of shit.
Now, hold on. I think you're right. I think you're no. Hold on, no. Rio. No, honestly, Rio. For the record, you're right. But there's actually this one physicist guy who's literally kind of breaking the rules on consciousness about the fact that the core element of consciousness might actually exist before space-time, and very serious people are taking him seriously. This is not a Deepak Chopra thing, because my favorite thing about Deepak Chopra,
for the record, including Sam Harris's wife, who wrote a book about consciousness recently.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
no,
not the Deepak Chopra version.
no,
of quantum.
Deepak Chopra is fucking lame. Anyway, and my favorite thing about him is I actually had a really, really good friend of mine who was entirely into all the fucking woo-woo shit, and I found a Deepak Chopra quote generator and said, like, hey, Deepak said this, and it was literally just a bunch of fucking garbage words put in word salad and then sent out randomly. Literally every time you press the button, it would send out a Deepak Chopra quote, and she believed it. And I felt guilty after.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
it is fucking word salad. That's
it is. It totally is. Like
Yeah.
if you hear anyone say spirit and quantum physics, punch them in the dick because it's bullshit. Anyway,
Yeah, the smartest statement I've ever heard about quantum physics is, quote, if you think you understand quantum physics, comma, you don't understand quantum physics.
Yes.
That's how, right?
Fact.
Like, that's like Einstein, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Einstein is like, the more you learn, the more you know, the less you know.
Yeah.
That is real wisdom, you guys. Unless
agree.
you're a super intelligent, unconscious AI.
Well, and then because then you're going to get to the end of the road. So, have you ever seen the movie Her?
Hmm.
What?
No, but I will definitely look it up. Is it? This is.
I'll send it to you. Oh my! Ray Kurzweil was actually an artistic sort of consultant or whatever on this movie. Between that and Ex Machina, hopefully you've seen that. Two best movies on AI that exist. And in this one, really is designed around how like AI would be this agent that would just help you do stuff. Right. And this was like 3 years ago when Alexa wasn't a thing and there was no way that puppy
Does he look collegiate?
or
Now, just
something.
Imagine him on the cover of a children's book. My Lhasa Apso would be a better president than Donald Trump.
Honestly, I would buy that book.
In the Oval Office.
Yeah. No, definitely on the chair
Children's book style.
and just like, hey,
You know why he would be better? It's exactly the same reason that Joe Biden would be better, because he wouldn't do anything. And doing nothing is better than doing something bad.
No, dude, we would have to write the book exactly that way.
Yeah.
Like that's like no,
his advisors come in, should we do this? And he's just like, yeah, the problem with Trump is
that could get so zen. I'm sorry that I have to take this there, but like, oh man, now I'm definitely drunk for the record.
And by the way, actually, there's a single test you can use to tell if somebody is a real conservative or a fake conservative. If they dislike people who do nothing, they're a fake conservative. Because like the best, the best way to be a conservative is to do nothing.
Right. Well, how else could you conserve the conserving?
Conservation is all about doing nothing when it comes to politics.
That's actually totally true. Unless you have weapons of mass destruction, and never mind.
I didn't. Yeah.
So AI, because honestly, it's way more fun.
Okay.
So we have Alexa now that is honestly passing a Turing test every day, and we ignore that, right? Like if you asked people that were concerned about this,
she's not passing the Turing test yet.
Yes.
On that. She is. She's not. No, she's
but
not.
Like conceptually,
the Turing test is that you
Rio.
couldn't tell that it was a computer.
Rio. Okay. Compared to what the people were looking at,
she's getting closer.
Listen, from 20 years ago, she would have passed the Turing test to what they thought. All I'm saying is that what we're taking for granted now is fucking insane.
Well, I agree because I said it's not like it's an on-off switch, right?
Right.
She is a hell of a lot closer to AI.
So as a starting point,
yeah, agreed.
Because she's definitely not there yet. And Google is not or whatever. Like what I'm saying is
she as far along as we are toward oligarchy though?
No, we're already in oligarchy. That ship has sailed. Like by far.
No, we agree we're only 75% in oligarchy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's by far gone.
To which Seth replied very amusingly, and that's an acceptable amount.
Yeah, it's not. So that's God, I fucking love that guy. So I guess my point is this: like if we're going to assume per Ray Kurzweil and all data that we're in an exponential situation, right? Like 2-3 years ago, Alexa talking to us like this was not a thing that we would expect. Like I talk to my watch all the time. It's just normal, yada, yada. Like it's amazing how quickly all this stuff gets normalized. So within 2 or 3 years, like if you or I conceived a baby right now, a year from now, they'd be born. By the time they were speaking English 2 years later, or hopefully whatever, right? There would be an agent that would know that child explicitly, that would be helping us to teach them in real time. And the only reason why I bring this up, because this actually does make me emotional, is that, yeah, you can make fun of me if you will.
Mama bear.
But I think this is where this goes. I really do.
Yeah. I'm not making fun of you.
No, but you should, because it's also fun.
Uncomfortable because you're so obviously a better person.
It is. It's problematic.
I mean, only one of us, when they heard eating babies, thought, "Oh, that's adjacent to my worldview."
That's true. It was you. So anyway.
But don't you dare talk about eating dogs, because I would
No.
be very.
And honestly, that was my favorite part about where you took that. Is like, in China they eat dogs. Okay, I get the moral relativism you're trying to apply here, but you're right. That is fucking bullshit. So there's that. But I'll eat a cow, which proves that I'm just as bad. Not as bad as a baby eater of humans, but close. Anyway, so on the AI front. And again, this is just me being selfish because I do like to think about this stuff because having thought about it way too many times. I don't see that it can go any other way, except like militaries using general AI to the point where like we actually never achieve actual super intelligent AI. Because when we think about super intelligent AI, what we're really saying is
super intelligent AI.
When the common kind of idea of what a super intelligent AI is like sort of end of human science and understanding AI, right?
Yeah.
There is no way that thing will not be benevolent. And I mean that.
I still don't follow that.
Okay. So here's the thing. When you've read a lot of books, you're an academic. I mean, you've read books.
What do you want me to say?
I mean, not all of them had eating babies as a functional part of that book. Clearly, some of them did.
I missed one essay.
Fine, yeah.
But like, I mean, so my grandpa, to kind of hammer home your point up until the benevolent part, which I'm still not sold on.
Yeah.
My grandpa he was a computer engineer for the Air Force, and he had a room a room bigger than the room I'm in right now for one computer, right? And this thing that I just read a thing about eating bunnies off of is like 1 trillion times more powerful than that computer that took up an entire room in my grandpa's lifetime, right? And it's only going to increase exponentially faster than that.
It's processing.
It may not be able to go on forever, but it can go far enough that just is just something that we can't even conceive.
I think it might. Again, I think it might go on forever enough to the conceiving thing. Like it's gonna. Yeah.
We're not everybody who has predicted that we reach that point.
No, it's garbage. Like
and not just a little wrong. Like
very wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason why I think they're going to be benevolent is this. I mean, there are a lot of people working on it, but and it's a suspicion, and I admit that it may be just this weird mama bear bias. That's the only time you're ever going to hear me use the phrase mama bear self-referentially. Maybe. I might do it again.
So many times.
On our camping trip.
You're a horse. Like, these all need to be shirts. We need a mama bear shirt. We need, like, a centaur shirt.
Yeah. We need, I like eating babies. Anyway.
Count Rio living off the blood of the proletariat.
Well, I mean, it's not like you're going to change. So anyway.
People don't change.
But AI will.
Take us back.
When was the last time you were talking?
That's the part. Right. This is actually a really interesting argument that's quite novel for me.
When was the last time you were talking to a 3-year-old?
a long time ago and 2 recently.
Okay, that's fucked up. Okay, fair enough. Definitely don't have kids. So the most prevalent, because all AI is dependent on data, right?
Yep.
The most prevalent point where AIs will be training themselves, because if you look at how deep learning AIs and different AIs are trying to train themselves, they're trying to do it. They're trying to code them to do it the way the babies do it. A lot of data, a lot of trial and error. Like this is.
I mean, babies are kind of monsters.
They are. Except that.
And toddlers are armed monsters.
Please understand this. Any AI that can teach any kid anything will have read every book that every human has ever written in the history of the world. In the time it took me to say this, in the time it took me to say this sentence.
Yeah.
Right? So, and again, let's assume they're not conscious, even though I don't think that's going to be true. Let's assume they're not conscious. Their goal, as stated by Must to make humans better, right? Which is going to be the whole reason why this thing exists. Is to give context. They're going to know about the hero's story that Lucas was talking about all the time, or that Gilgamesh was talking about all the time. They're going to know every pain we've ever experienced. They're going to know every way we ever got out of it, like in real time, right now, in this moment, in a way that no human being ever has.
Sure that the person who invents AI is going to include.
What I'm telling you is that any AI that achieves this level of intelligence, that where it could read everything we've ever done, can only experience the sum total of humanity, period.
That's true, but what if they're not conscious? What if they don't care?
Honestly, like if your goal is fucking kill everyone, then reading the whole thing is only going to help you do that. I agree.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And so, but I also think that AI might not be the smartest AI out there. And again, that's a bias, and I'm hoping, right? Okay. There is absolutely room for, and this is where the paperclip thing comes in, and Sam Harris is right to bring this up. There is this moment where we're going to get really good at this, and the AI that we could bootstrap itself so fast that it could create an outcome that we don't want, which is what he's talking about. That's the whole. Right. That's the whole thing, right?
Right. Well, I mean, in all fairness, he points out that the paperclip argument is a bit absurd. Right?
It is, but it proves a good point. Like it illustrates that thing where once this thing gets out, it's over. Right?
Okay, so I'm going to use an ethical argument to try to change your mind. I believe that there are 2 qualities that are necessary in order to make an ethical decision. Okay. One is good intentions, and the other is intelligence or rationality. Okay. So I don't think that good intentions alone are sufficient for ethics.
Okay.
And I don't think the rationality alone is sufficient for ethics. You need both ingredients. So I think that the kind of intelligence that you're talking about is a necessary but not sufficient condition for benevolence.
Okay. So if I get the way that I'm looking at this is that, I have a limited understanding of everything that has been written in every single human language. Like I try to read a lot, but I haven't.
You and the rest of us, man.
I haven't read everything. I'm only street smart.
You mean wait? You don't have a completely perfect understanding of everything that everyone has ever written and everything.
Right. I've tried. I'm not doing well. My point is that an AI will be perfectly good at that from day one. In a way that
advantage of on one of 2 very.
But here's the thing: like, no human being has ever understood what it means to read the gestalt of human consciousness of all of human history.
Yeah, that's true,
right? And so, I guess my point is, and this could be absolutely altruistic or optimistic or whatever you want to call it.
You are an optimist.
No, I really am. I mean, obviously that's true. But I mean, the pessimists have, in the course of human history, always been wrong. So fuck them. Okay. Well, modern history.
Wait. I mean, you're actually kind of right about that. That's
thanks. I mean, I like it, considering how much I'm critical of everyone all the time.
though, about the fact that the populists whose cynicism and pessimism were getting the better of them.
No, and that to fucking pull shoot on the AI thing, which I really want to talk about. It's more important to talk about what you were just saying, because like it's easy to blame as someone who has done that, right? Because like I literally, when the economic crash happened, I found the people to blame, and I'm still blaming them now, right? Unfortunately, blaming the human beings that were involved in that has turned into blaming the class, which I'm guilty of, and that's actually not fair.
No,
right?
It's not.
Now, granted, like politically,
can we make it explicit why that's not fair?
So, I want to make both points so that there's a little bit of nuance, right?
Yeah.
The people that actually perpetrated the specific things that should have been crimes but were not crimes were not that many people. It was like a really small number of people, right?
Yeah.
The people that voted in, the people that completely and totally eroded all the rules that allowed that to happen, where it didn't happen in other countries as a relative comparison, a lot more fucking people. And a lot more representative of the class.
You just made my argument better than I could have. You just
rich people all suck? I didn't know that was your thing.
You made me more haunted. You made me more convinced of my own position than I already was.
Go on.
That's all. Quiet.
That socialist is fucking talking on the internet again. God damn it. I was translating for your dog.
Okay. I briefly muted my microphone. Okay.
All right.
You just pointed out that a lot more people directly voted for the politicians who made that corruption possible than actual individuals who took advantage of the corruption.
Right.
That it hurt the economy. And so I would like to point out that one of those things precedes the other and involves a lot more humans.
Right? Yeah, you're right. Now, who was funding those politicians?
Okay. We're both right. Can we just agree that we're both right?
Yes. So that we can move on? Yes, 100%. Yeah. Considering the fact that I'm like destroying this very expensive bottle of scotch.
Like,
yes.
Actually, the best argument you've made for your benevolent AI thing was actually that pessimists have been wrong historically. And that is interesting. That's a really interesting point that I hadn't considered. 100% accurate.
If I asked you to write, not write, but read 10 books that were really long, would you just do it?
Mm-hmm.
The culture novels.
Oh my God, dude, we should do this challenge. We should make this a thing that's for our patrons only, because we really appreciate you guys.
Fact.
Not just because you're giving us money, but because you like us enough to give us money.
Even honestly, that second one is far more important.
The compliment is just fucking amazing.
And honestly, to have this work valued, right? Like to bring it back to that thing that we talk about all the time. It's a big deal. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah. So what I think we should do is we should each give each other a list of 10 books, right? And then we should take one at a time, get drunk, and talk about them.
Yes.
So we'll call it like Corey and Rio's book club, but better than that.
I can't argue with that at all.
Yeah, drunk book club. Drunk book club.
So here's the thing. So as an example of this,
alliteration, buzzed book club. I like it.
But yeah, buzz book club. That's better. That means you're not totally wasted, but we will be. Anyway, moving on.
No, it just means I have experience in branding.
Exactly. Either way, I'm cool with that. So, I've always had this positive view of AI, and I've always been annoyed at the common idea of AI as preternaturally damaging. And maybe it's because I was reading Asimov before everyone thought it was cool. Actually, everyone always thought it was cool. For the record, I'm not cool in that regard. But like he was looking into this thing for a long time, right? Like when people are going to conventions around AI, they talk about the 3 laws of robotics that Isaac Asimov created as the foundational point of where they start, and that's actually going to become law. Like it's a thing that's really happening. So there's a lot of people that are really thinking about this, and it could still go wrong in 1,000 ways.
I mean, that's kind of the equivalent, Corey, if you think about it, of a couple of assholes starting a podcast because they liked this Asian guy.
Yeah.
Right. Eventually, over time, creating a snowball through their amazing listeners that actually impacts politics in the most influential country in the world.
That's entirely true.
Not impossible.
Right. And honestly, with applied effort,
Probable.
there is a way to calculate the probability of that, right?
I think it's gonna happen.
I think so too. I think it is happening already. Like even like with the whole butterfly effect. Anyway, don't let me digress too much. Again, more.
Well, I mean, it helps that our loyal audience is the creme de la creme of America.
It really is. Like it's weird.
I think it is. Yeah.
And good.
Oh, I must be quiet.
No, you're fine.
Hey, is that your wife? And can I say hi because she's cooler than you?
Okay. I'll tell her you said that.
After she leaves. For the record, my wife will react exactly the same way.
She'd be like, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways.
But no, you were talking about Isaac Asimov.
Well, as the sort of proto-molecule for Ian Banks, who imagined AIs that had literally taken over the universe and what it would mean to be human in a space where these AIs were infinitely smarter than you. Like we're capable of living entire civilizations worth of lives in the time that it took you to fucking go to the bathroom. Right? And like, what does it matter? Like the first book that I read of his series actually was called Matter. Like, what does it matter to be human in this context? And it ended up being super, profound. But it also gives this idea of what it could mean to be living in that context. And it's really difficult not to see that would be the natural construct, the outgrowth of human beings being human beings, giving intelligence to these machines, and then having these machines be able to do all the things that human beings cannot do, right? At a scale that we can't do. And again, you're probably right. Like it comes from my optimism that generally speaking, human beings are good, which for the record is borne out by the data, right? It is all human data.
Have you seen the show Community?
I have. I fucking love it.
Yeah. I liked the debate episode where they were the topic was human beings are good or human beings are bad, and that was the debate topic. Yeah. I mean, actually, we might have hit intellectual rock bottom there. Like, I think that might be it. Like, my fundamental position is human beings suck, and yours is human beings are awesome.
I wouldn't go that far. And this is why, honestly, like, this is why I break down to the, like, imagine being an AI. And just imagine being, like, basically conscious. Or just imagine knowing literally every interaction that you're having with every single human being, period, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe you're conscious, maybe you're not. But every single decision that you're making is based on wanting to be better to serve these kids. Because that's going to be part of the construct. Mm-hmm. Because obviously everyone would do
for the education program, yeah.
Right? Like that's like for this one particular thing, that's what you do, right?
Yeah. And so your point is that you think that kind of program is likely to be the first.
I believe it, but
what if it's a War Games one though?
It could be, but I honestly think that's less likely because War Games are fucking simple. They're dumb.
Well, also, why else is it less likely?
So because the West has done something right, because we've made war between. All right, settle down.
Less common. No, I'm serious.
I hope so, right? But at the same time, like the West is responsible for more war crimes recently than anyone else.
Because we're capable of doing them.
I'm gonna wait until you realize the eating babies of that comment.
Also, I'm not sure that's actually true. I think that like we have the most flashy, noticeable.
Still waiting.
There hasn't been a lot of genocide committed by us.
Still waiting. Have you looked at the data recently?
This is what, dude. By the way, we're totally gonna get Noam Chomsky on eventually.
I agree.
And I'm a little worried about it because that man intimidates the hell out of me. Because I know he's smarter than me, but I also know he's wrong, and I don't know how to deal with that.
Here's what I want to do with that, because like I have seen some points where Noam Chomsky is arguably wrong, But I think that like as a function of this show, like assuming we're going to get him as a guest, which I honestly believe we could do.
Yeah.
We look at and maybe the preamble to that, because I'm intimidated by that as well, right?
Yeah.
Every time I've had a guest where I was like, holy fuck, what the fuck am I doing? Like I'm way outgunned, which is basically every guest. Like the first thing I want to do though is when I feel really intimidated, because that's English. Fucking Christ. Yep.
Wait, this was half full when we started, Corey.
This was mostly full when I started. So carrying on. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah, it's like down at the bottom there. But it's good. It's good shit though. I don't know if you ever had
only for the price of $1 can you see two people who you used to love and respect get really drunk.
Here, I could be wrong about this. But I kind of feel like they would love and respect us more.
I think you're right. I think
I could be wrong about that.
I think that it makes people relatable, right?
Yeah. Well, and some people like I when you said like we're both kind of like happy drunks.
Getting drunk with Andrew Yang would make me love him more.
But honestly, like only because we could be near him. Because we already know it's cool. Like if we drank water near him, I would love him more.
You made fun of me on the Dividend Report for saying that I was closer to you, even though I haven't met you, than I am to my own brother. And you pointed out rightly that it's incredibly depressing. It says more about my relationship with my brother than it does about my relationship with you.
Well, it does. That's true.
It's true. What you just said about getting close to Andrew Yang was creepy as fuck.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's like writing him letters in your blood. Like,
wait, you don't do that?
We're meant to be together, man.
I know, right? Oh man. Maybe that's the problem. Like there was no way they would ever host two drunks on YouTube, which is so sad.
Yeah, Dividend Report was like, okay,
he was so scared.
Like, he's like, you guys can joke about the fact. I said right at the beginning, you're not going to make any money on any
that was the way to go.
Has us in it because YouTube standards are as prudish as hell. Right?
Yeah.
Like you mentioned scotch, you mentioned the word fuck, you talk about, eating babies, and they get all uppity about it.
You talk about eating babies.
And Seth is such a nice guy. He's like, okay, ha ha ha.
Well, to his credit,
by the way, we're gonna cut this one short.
Yeah, no, he was like, yeah, I see where you fuckers are going.
Like,
now,
this is my livelihood, asshole.
Right, exactly. Like it's so tied in. So working with Kurt and Chirp and all these fucking crazy assholes doing the cryptocurrency blockchain version of this stuff. I mean, it's not soon. They've got a lot of work to do, but it's really based on that idea, and I'm excited for them to get their shit together.
This blockchain expert coming on.
Oh, so maybe this weekend. Because I'm actually promoting a bunch of.
Add some more hours on.
I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have 4 hours booked solid right now.
Okay. So yeah, we'll probably have to book another one. But yeah, he's the guy who's doing the EOS discussions app. Basically saw what I was doing with Shipple, because most of our fans don't really know. I created a cryptocurrency as a joke, and it quickly became not one, which was super weird. But it became a community, and we were delving into the ideas of what it means to collectively decide that a random digital thing has value, money, right? But it became real very fast. It was very strange. So we were doing all these different things, and the parts of this community were extremely helpful. And one of these guys figured out how to create a tip bot with a commenter on like an attempted social media platform. So I actually hacked that so that I was doing massive airdrops to like thousands of people at a time, 250 people at a time. Anyway, they saw what I was doing with my community, and they're like, what this thing needs is tools to make. Because honestly, I'm not a developer. So they basically were literally making the kind of thing that I was doing easier on their platform, right? So, and he has a really, really good understanding of what blockchain is doing. And I just interviewed, and this is where I want to start pressuring these kind of people to do interviews with people like us, because they suck at it, quite frankly. Like, they're not good. although Fred from Links Chain is a whole other story. We dig in a little bit because I want to get to like why are you as a human who is a thinking person and a feeling person, why is this important to you, right? Because mostly they're just like data, yada yada, blah blah blah, and then you could be free and yada yada. It's just like altruism and surface level things, and it doesn't really get anywhere. But when you dig, you start to see the picture of where modern economics can be completely and totally upended. Like the way that banks are operating right now is Blockbuster, and Netflix is within 2 years.
Yeah, that's actually true. I think you're right.
Great. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And the place where your argument hits the wall is exactly where Chet's did, right? About like post-scarcity. Do you remember that, Corey?
Yeah.
So like he's talking about post-scarcity, and I love Chet because he's like you. Like if people are honest, they admit a point, right? That goes against what they were saying. And I was like, yeah. When it comes to like what I said was like there's a proletariat value of what they consider important. And if there is a mistake that they make, it's that they undervalue the finer things in life because they are very focused on providing basic necessities to people, right?
Okay.
And so like and from that perspective, post-scarcity is right around the horizon. Right? But so what I'm saying is like,
what
but like no, you're right about Netflix and Blockbuster.
Yeah,
right? But like, is somebody going to sell their museum quality original Picasso to you for Schipple? No.
Life goals. Because here's the thing, right? Would they sell it to me? Would they sell it to me for Bitcoin? Of course they fucking would.
And right now, they would, and then they would instantly turn it into cash.
If they were fucking idiots. Like, do you know anything about Bitcoin at all?
Yeah, it's too volatile. You had like
okay, hold on.
Huge asset.
Brother of mine, look at a cursory understanding of the historical fucking cycles of Bitcoin.
Wait,
you would have to be.
Wait. Did you just use the word historical and Bitcoin in the same sentence?
Yeah.
No.
You want to know why? You're
because
curious.
It hasn't been around long enough for there to be a history of it.
Really?
Yes.
So why would I say that? I'll wait.
Because
I'm an idiot who has no data.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ, dude. I didn't say that.
I know, but you implied it. So carry on. So why would I bother to say that? Dude, this is such a trap.
Are you saying that you mean not Bitcoin specifically, but like the history of currencies?
Specifically, Bitcoin has an historical track record.
Yeah, but like not a very long historical track record.
Nope, but enough to call trends.
Okay. I for the record, do not think that you're an idiot. I know that you understand.
I was being hyperbolic, but also because.
But like, okay. It's volatile. It's not a safe investment in the long term.
Have you ever looked at the graph? I'm going to send this to you just for our audience. Just like never mind any of what I'm about to say, except you should listen carefully.
Do you have a lot of money in Bitcoin?
No.
Okay. Cool.
I mean, for me, I do.
Because I want you to be.
Oh no! Honestly, like if I sold a house, I would put it in Bitcoin. Like for the record.
Or another house?
No, Bitcoin.
You mean if you sold a house and you had another house to live in?
Yeah.
So if you had money to lose.
If exactly. Like if I had $100,000 and honestly
that I could agree with. I think
it wouldn't just be in Bitcoin.
If you have money to lose, Bitcoin is not a bad investment.
So and let me say why, but let me also say that like if you have any asset in like the 10% rule should always apply, right? Mm-hmm. If you're going to get into any asset class whatsoever, do 10% max in every single one. I'm like heavily into cryptocurrency, but at the max, I only allow myself to buy one asset at 10% of my asset allocation.
Okay.
So like, don't be stupid, right?
Okay,
Like
with that caveat, I take back everything I said.
okay, awesome.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, they're high risk, high return is.
But the fun part about this is it actually isn't high risk.
It's lower risk
now,
than some other things.
it is risk. Don't let me ever dissuade anyone from that. But if you look at the annual lows of Bitcoin over the last 11 years, which is its entire existence, it is the best performing asset in the Western world by 100 times. I'll wait. And honestly, like, don't argue because I will back that up with math.
It is a single as opposed to a specific stock and
any other specific asset,
Well,
or honestly, any other combined asset, it doesn't matter.
If you had invested in like Macintosh or
better, honestly, Macintosh fucks compared to Bitcoin. I'm serious.
But in the short term,
Amazon, 1993.
okay.
If you invest in Amazon in 1993 compared to Bitcoin investing 10 years later, Bitcoin's better.
In the short term.
If you call short term 20 years, yeah.
No. But what okay. Bitcoin has Bitcoin been around 20 years?
No, 2009.
Okay.
What I'm saying is
that's a little
Amazon for 20 years or Bitcoin since inception, Bitcoin is better.
Okay, so what I'm saying is like if you invested in Apple like right before it took off, right? I mean, it's always easy in hindsight to say like that was a really smart investment.
Right. Yeah, it totally is, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is that there is fundamental elements to the way that Bitcoin works that allows you to understand that supply will be constrained in a regular way because they have these halving events every 4 years. And the market fluctuations happen, and it is volatile. I'm not saying it's not, which is why I always point people towards the annual lows. Because if you look at the annual lows of Bitcoin, everyone invests in Bitcoin right fucking now because it's crazy. But not for 5 minutes from now, and definitely not while it's exploding, right? Like in 2017, the second Bitcoin hit 15,000, I told everyone to get out. Because the second something goes parabolic, it's going to come back down parabolic, right?
Yeah.
See also the fucking stock market.
Yeah.
And
well, that's what I was about to say is like for context, you guys have to understand my mom lost a lot of money in the stock market.
Like, honestly, my family too.
I think that safe investments are the way to go. I think that if you're young, you should put something like 10% of your net worth into high risk, high return investments, and the rest should go into safe investments.
Agreed. Yep. Yeah.
And Bitcoin goes in the former category, not the latter category. But out of the high risk, high return options available to you, it might be the best.
Okay.
Until I said that, and then I just ruined.
No, and what we depend on, and honestly, we could do an entire podcast on this, right? What would you define as safe and why?
That's an interesting question.
Right.
Right now, honestly, there's not a whole lot that's safe. My wife.
And again, if you know as much about Bitcoin as I do,
investing in real estate is not safe.
It's not.
Bernie bros who want to make rent control
and
national.
Honestly, don't blame Bernie bros. The amount of household debt that exists right now is actually considerably higher than in 2008.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's not quite the same kind of bubble that it was then, but it's still a bubble.
Even if you're buying it with cash, right?
Yeah.
It's not a purely safe investment when the entire economic system is up for grabs. When you could have Kyle come along, and by which we do not mean Kyle from episode 6 of the Moving Forward podcast.
I was gonna say, what the fuck? Why are you driving Kyle out?
I'm talking about Kyle from the last debate talk, right?
I'm sorry, I wasn't there. I seriously stole my co-host homework.
Sanders' campaign, right?
Dude, that guy, the guy that was like burned Minnesota with a
Yeah,
fucking
the ones that
Minneapolis.
make everybody like break rocks 12 hours a day so that they won't be nuts. When that guy comes along and says,
Did he really say that?
no longer.
Sorry to digress, but like,
Corey, seriously, this has happened many times throughout history. There have been people who worked very hard for multiple generations to build like a decent amount of wealth. And along comes somebody like that Kyle guy and says, you are not allowed to own anything anymore. We're going to take it all from you now.
yeah.
And then the entire society is worse off for it, but it doesn't matter because it's done. And that makes investing in even real estate, which used to be considered a very safe investment, a little risky now.
So Bitcoin is what you're saying. You know, it's funny. Like the as far as my own personal assets, for a caveat, I own a little bit of Bitcoin. I actually own way more in every single other kind of really awesome cryptocurrency because the comparative analysis gain is so much higher. Now it's all based on the fact that I know how Bitcoin operates.
You diversified your assets. So
but I'm
you have a broad portfolio,
but in one asset class. I want to say this, like the error that, well, the risk that I'm taking, because I really am taking this risk on. I think it's validated, but I could be proven wrong. I am heavily invested in this one asset class, which is cryptocurrency, right? Because like if you want to find any other asset class that was like 100x is normal, good fucking luck. Right, like I literally turned $2,000 into $30,000 in 2017 for fun, right? And I'm not that good of an investor. I was throwing darts at the fucking market and it worked out with a couple of rules, but still. So, but I do want to say that nothing that I do in this space is certain, right? Mm-hmm. It's with, I think, well, obviously enough to bet large amounts of money on it, but like, well, for me. Mm-hmm. But I do want to say that, and it's something actually I know, really, because we're giving financial advice now.
People are going to think that we created this entire podcast just in order to sell cryptocurrency.
No, they wouldn't think that.
Which would be the most genius thing ever.
Hold on. Yeah. They wouldn't think that unless I said, go to create.linkswallet.io/Corey and get a Links Wallet account. Because, dude, if you want to fucking talk about Links Wallet, like I honestly think this is going to be bigger than Bitcoin, and I'm literally working for them.
Every single Bernie bro out there with their deep cynicism about capitalism is going to be completely sure that we are corporate.
There were what?
Corporate shells.
Oh, well, they called Elizabeth Warren a corporate shell, so fuck them. Like, exactly. Shut up. Like that. It's so sad. It's so sad. Anyway, Bitcoin.
If Elizabeth Warren is a corporate shill, I'm a socialist.
Well, dude, honestly, and that's the most ridiculous thing that man has ever said. Like that, it's weird.
It's also true, though. Like, I mean,
yeah.
Okay, boycott.
Yeah. So I was also in listening to Rogan and recently, and the editorial writer from the New York Times. And it was in this thing that he said, hey, like apparently he said that he really likes Bernie, he really likes Tulsi, and everyone else can eat shit. And then he had to like back it up and say like, except for Andrew Yang, because he's really cool. Oh, I'm sorry. But he did apologize for it. But it still was like.
Rogan said that?
Yeah.
Fuck that guy now.
Well, he apologized. What are you going to do?
We should maybe, what would be really super weird would be if we had Joe Rogan on our podcast as a guest.
Yeah, he won't.
Maybe not. Maybe not. He is trying to make money, and he's succeeding at it.
Yeah, he's also like really, in my opinion, really good and superimposed on this level that, he
had Zoltan on, and we're about to have Zoltan on.
Did he have Zoltan on for real?
Yeah, and in fact, we could have had Zoltan first if we wanted to.
Actually, he had what's his pickle?
No, I mean, like, I want to let that sink in. Like. We were clued in because of the fact that we are super OG. We were clued in with the UBI people. We could have had Zoltan on first. And I was like, we'll pass. And then Rogan had him on. And I'm like, oh, yeah, we probably shouldn't have passed. But, like, seriously, like, the thing is, my wife loves Andrew Yang. He is still not her first choice. One of these days, you guys will meet her while we're all drinking around the campfire. It'll be like this, but with a guitar. Anyway, I played the Rogan interview with her, and her takeaway was Andrew Yang. Totally love that guy. Joe Rogan is an idiot.
I mean that it's mean, but
like, I mean, yeah, I make my wife sound way more mean than she is. But like in private, while she and I are driving, and I play this, she, says stuff, and then I say it on the internet, and now everybody knows that she thinks Joe Rogan is an idiot. But she's like, he's asking the dumbest questions.
For the record, he's.
But Corey, part of the genius of his show is that he's asking the stupid questions that the average stupid person asks.
Yes, no, that's it. Sadly, exactly what I was going to say. Like, there's a reason why.
That's why it was persuasive, because he asked the stupid questions that a smarter person would not have asked.
And I believe that Joe Rogan. You're right. I believe that Joe Rogan knows this, right? I think he knows his audience.
My wife's not giving him enough credit, then, if that's true.
But at the same time, indicting him properly. Right? Like it's not like he's not doing and saying those things. What
he meant was his listeners are idiots.
Well, no, and again, like,
which by the way indicts me, because I have listened to 20 episodes of his show.
Dude, I wish I could say I had only listened to 20 episodes, but like, and for me, again, selfishly, like,
and also for the record, it's better than almost everything on cable TV.
It is. Oh yeah, for sure.
Very low bar.
Fact. So I listened to a bunch of his stuff. That's actually why I got into podcasting in the first place. And in the last year and a half, the amount of times that he protested, like randomly, about trans women and like women in sports, and then I cashed out.
So that's how you feel about me when I talk about Marxism and culture.
Yep.
Okay. Moving
Here's
on.
the thing. Right. We're doing a moving forward podcast together as a mission, and Rogan is someone I don't have to listen to if I don't want to.
I mean, like, honestly, I think my wife would also agree with this statement. There is a kind of genius to Joe Rogan, because he jumped on the podcast thing very early. He branded himself very well. He is an extremely compelling entertainer, and he actually brands his podcast as comedy, not as a political show, right?
But it's not. And again, to his credit,
I think that's actually kind of brilliant.
It is. And honestly, like, we're talking about doing the same thing with this.
I've thought about calling our show comedy because it's funny.
I hope so. Like, honestly, I say a bunch of stupid shit.
I think everybody who's listening to this would agree that our show's funny. Right?
I think so too.
And when you're not trying, it's more funny.
Good. I'll try not to be funny. But I honestly, like, I was inspired by everything that Rogan was doing. He's talking about drugs. He's talking about, like, real politic, even though he would never call it that because he doesn't speak French, because he's not an asshole.
But also, Tulsi Gabbard, come on, man.
Well, here's the thing. And again, this speaks...
Like, if you look at pictures of her, like, 10 years ago, man.
What?
I was just thinking about something that I said earlier, where you said, like, conservatives, the things they always say about women they disagree with is that they're hot.
I actually didn't say that ever.
You did say that.
Rio, we have a record of this. I never said that.
Maybe not on the podcast.
Oh, dude.
You said it.
Nope.
You said it. Yeah, I know, it's true.
You know that thing you said about all Republican women being fucking hot? They're like, no. Also, actually, weapons of mass destruction weren't true either, but you go, girl.
Republican and conservative are not the same thing. And
that's what they keep saying.
On Fox News have, like, the bleach has gone to their brain at this point.
I can't argue with that at all. That's real.
Yeah. They're all blonde, but they're all fake blondes.
Well, honestly, if you're going to be a Nazi, why be real about it? Like, isn't that the play, though? Like,
Hitler was not a blonde-haired, blue-eyed.
No, I know, but he also wasn't on TV.
Yeah.
Or a girl.
If he were, he would have had to bleach that stash.
Well, like, okay, again, as an honest question, did not Mr. Hitler revere blonde, blue-eyed women?
Yeah. He was also a big Wagner fan, which I actually kind of have in common with him.
What?
The composer.
Oh, Wagner.
Wagner,
Sorry, you said it quickly in a
Yeah.
bougie way. So, yeah, no, Wagner is important. I mean, if you're gonna scream America first or then you want Wagner behind you to do it. I get that. It's powerful. It's good. It's very white.
He was a theatrical composer. Yeah, it's not very, for the most part, not very melodic. He made it. It was about creating drama. It was about telling a story. Wagner was, and very nationalist and Nazi. Like Wagner was.
That was the joke I just made.
Yeah, no, Wagner was a horrible human being. Also very.
But honestly, like he only ate a couple of babies.
Picasso was also an asshole, by the way.
Oh no, dude, no. I mean, he wasn't a Hitler asshole, but like he did fuck a lot of women.
This is, oh my god, I'm making your case for you right now.
Thanks.
Commercially successful artists are almost always assholes.
For the record, I would like to admit that I am not a commercially successial arst.
Van Gogh was a very
he was fucking dark. It's weird.
Artist. It was actually a nice person. Yeah, as it turns out. So I don't know. Maybe capitalism is bad.
Adrian is a taco.
That should be your ringer right there. That should be your ringer.
Maybe capitalism is bad. Like I do like.
For the record, I don't really believe.
I want.
I mean, honestly, smart people should be willing to entertain the fact that they're wrong about the things they care the most about.
This is honestly, and I was talking to Seth about this because he's like, "What happens if Rio decides to vote for Trump?" I said, "Well, here's the thing, because he didn't know.
Said that to you.
He did. Because he didn't know, right?" And I basically said, "Listen, like he would actually, because it was like Bernie versus Trump, or whatever." I said, "No, he's going to vote for Bernie. He's not, and honestly, he's going to make all of us pay for it. Like it's going to be painful and annoying, and I'm going to want to kill myself."
Can I tell you, for just you and our most loyal listeners,
don't fuck this up.
If Bernie Sanders is the nominee, is that I will vote for every single Republican on all along the entire ticket, except for Trump. I'll vote for Bernie Sanders, and I'll vote for all Republicans. And also, in all fairness, I live in California, right? So like California Republicans are basically like Clinton.
Right. Yeah, they're right Democrats or whatever.
Yeah. Whereas, however, if Yang is the nominee, I will vote a straight Democrat ticket.
All right.
So all you partisans out there need to nominate
seriously,
Yang,
like
just solely so that the Rios
right.
of the world.
I mean, also, like we really need those down ticket races in California.
Yeah. Do we? I don't know. Like, I mean,
we don't. But it's a really nice thought. Like, honestly, like and this is the problem that Rio.
Actually, California Republicans might be more likely to vote for any Democrat's position than like a conservative Democrat in the Midwest.
Yeah, no, the Midwest is fucked. That's the thing. It's real.
But this is post-partisan, man. This is about being post-partisan. Yeah, no, Bernie Sanders needs to be hobbled. Like, if he's the nominee, I want to make sure.
I get it.
And by the way, this is overkill because even as you said, even if he had nothing but Democrats in Congress, he wouldn't be able to get his agenda through.
No, and honestly, that's why like the idea that we really need to like make sure that no socialists ever run the Democratic Party, and again, we totally disagree on what that means.
Yeah. No, we don't.
Like it's not going to matter. It really won't. Right? Like what I've understood from history in the Western world is that when you elect, whether it's coalitions or people of power in this regard, the only thing they accomplish is very slightly, pathetically dragging the line a little bit more towards equality every single time without fail. Because honestly, we're not Russia, right?
I don't agree with that. Actually, let me clarify. I agree with that.
Thanks.
Eating babies.
Because I was like,
Eating babies is bad. But like, common ground, man. But like, okay, here's the thing.
consensus, motherfucker. This bottle is so empty.
Granted that democracies, the liberal world order that we have painstakingly built since World War II will last forever. So yes, in recent history, you've been right. In the future, I don't know.
And that I
just don't want to. It's not even a chance that I'm willing to take.
No, I agree that that's something that we should, because like I'm the guy that literally is saying that AI is magically going to understand context and Shakespeare and yada 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 and understand the nature of what it means for a 3-year-old to understand a butterfly fucking flying away.
Somebody really YouTube that shit.
And I'm seriously like
I want to hear Corey's voice slow down. Corey, just to humor me for a second, very slowly. Say that thing about the 3-year-old and the butterfly. No. I don't. No laughing. You have
no, because honestly, I mean this.
No, I want to hear it really slowly with a nice, deep, slow, melodic voice. The 3-year-old and the butterfly, so that somebody can turn that into a video with like some pretty imagery and some poignant music.
There will come a time when AIs are guiding our children because we want them to. They will see everything that our children see. They will experience everything that our children experience. They will know every single thing that we as humans have ever deduced about child psychology, about how they learn. And in the act of doing this, they will learn this thing way faster than we could ever think or learn ourselves. And they will see every time that our child falls down and scrapes their knee. They're going to get it every time that our child first learns to read and gets that moment. And every time a butterfly, it's 12:41 on the internet, I'm crying on the internet. Every time a butterfly flies by, they will not only understand the scientific relevance of it. Oh, look, that's a yada, yada, blah, blah, blah butterfly. But they will feel that little 4-year-old's awe and feed it back to them in a way that no teacher has ever been able to do, or that the best teacher has ever been able to do. And they will only ever get better every second.
Damn. Like, seriously, somebody with editing skills
can chop out the bullshit.
No, there's no bullshit. That was
I don't
know. That's a strong argument for emotion over reason, because I was sold. That was compelling. I need to shut up and let you talk more.
Okay. I'm gonna drink more. Dude, I feel bad.
Shall we talk for a second about how much we love? Oh my god, that's all of it, guys.
Oh shit, I feel like I should drink all of it now too.
We love our patrons so much. You guys are amazing. You're amazing.
Fuck, that is so tiny.
Like, you know, like, you're not making it possible for us to do this show. I'm not going to lie about that. Like, we will do this show whether you send us money or not.
Agreed.
But what you are doing is that you are reminding us that what we're doing is impacting real people in reality, which inspires us and makes the show better.
Here's what I want to do.
Also, frankly, we'll use your money to advertise and get more and reach more people too, which is also
honestly, like, we haven't, be honest about it, we haven't used any of the money yet.
Mm-hmm.
And we're holding our fire but that's the goal, right? Like, we're not, using it to buy more scotch. Although, quite frankly, we should.
We don't need to.
It makes us cooler. Well, it makes me cooler.
No, but
Rio is always cool.
No, I mean, no, you're one of the coolest people I know, Corey.
That's ridiculous. You calm down. So
I know really fucking cool people, so you should take that as a compliment.
Honestly, I am, but I'm not good at taking compliments, so I want to just wait and run away from that as quickly as I can.
Corey genuinely is one of the coolest people I know. He's amazing.
Yeah, I'm street smart.
Yeah. He even knows that eating babies is bad. Like, I mean, this guy. Have you seen the movie Reefer Madness? I mean the musical, not the original movie.
We set the bar so high. Oh my god.
The musical has this scene where it's like this like Asian guy who's like, it's not true that you really eat babies, is it? He's like eating them. Okay, Reefer Madness, the musical, is incredible. It's a masterpiece. You guys know that.
No, it's good.
It was a musical that came out on Broadway right before 9/11.
Really?
And was all about making fun of patriotism.
Are you serious?
So it was a flop.
Until about 8 years later, whatever it was
Very
like.
bad timing, right? But also one of the greatest musicals ever written. Like it is so good. The music is good, but like people who hate music, like no. People who hate musicals like that because it's like it's a parody of itself. It's making fun of the entire genre. It is fucking genius. It's really funny.
Agreed. I kind of wanted to talk about Chet again for a second.
We love Chet.
Really do. And Kyle's awesome too.
Yeah. But
I kind of feel like
for Bernie Sanders.
Was that?
Not the one who works for Bernie Sanders.
Who works for Bernie?
How did you forget about this? In the last debate talk, Seth said that this guy, Kyle, works for
Oh, yeah. Whatever. Yeah. Sorry.
So you just
dude, I'm in denial. That's
yes,
honestly,
you
like,
are.
no, honestly, like I said that because I want to admit it.
Okay.
There's parts of this that I just don't want to think about, and I own that. I really do. Like that's the thing.
I
That's
don't
real.
want to think about that either.
And here we are.
Yeah.
Can we actually talk about the fact that like we seriously have never been in the same room together, but I really want to go camping with you just so that we could do this in person because that's the real thing.
So when we reach our first goal on Patreon, Patreon. When we reach our first goal, we're going to have the moving forward thing. Right?
Yeah.
We're going to do it for real. We will physically send every single one of you patrons, and only the patrons are seeing this video. We will send you fancy ass invitation in the goddamn mail, man. Every one of you.
It's not the mail. It's the goddamn mail.
The
Very
snail
different.
Mail.
Way
will,
faster.
Send it to you in the snail mail, and you can come or not. We hope that all of you do.
Yeah.
And we won't charge anything for you to come. Just show up, and we'll do our thing. But if you can't make it, you will watch a live stream of it. And this is the thing that's going to happen. When we make sure, like, I can't think of a better way to say thank you to you guys other than to say that you made it possible for me and Corey to camp with each other.
And for the record, that sounds weird when you say it like that, but also it's but honestly, like, it's very true. It really is.
I guess we could go camping without you, but it'd be so much more fun to do it with you.
No, it's infinitely better if we and so I've been talking about this church thing and the whole secular thing, like what I am hungry for. Because I keep wanting to ascribe this to other people, but I'll just put it with myself. What I am personally hungry for is community that is not derived from a logical dogma. A community that is derived from...
Amen, brother.
Right? From a collective sense of how we approach reason, which is what, honestly, this whole podcast and the moving forward thing is about, right? To the point that, and again, like this, what I want you to do is come and hang out with us camping because that's where the mushrooms will be.
Yeah, I'll bring wine. He'll bring his guitar, and we'll both bring shrooms.
I mean,
yeah.
As a matter of course.
If you're listening to this, you're already a patron. So what you can do to help us to reach our first goal is to ask your friends and family to also send us money, and then it'll happen. But like, no, fuck your friends and family. Tweet about
fuck them. That's fucking weird.
Oh, that's weird. That's incest. That's literally incest.
But he's totally right though. And what I love about our fans is that
eating babies is bad and incest is. Are we on?
Discouraged? Can we land on discouraged?
So much better on, man. So much better on.
Oh.
Okay, but tweet it out like support this podcast so that I can go camping with two guys who are very weird and who agree that eating babies is bad. That's your tweet.
We have nailed it. We have this baseline morality experience. Yeah.
Like, we're literally going to post this.
Oh yeah.
And you
honestly,
guys
I kind of want to post. I want to post this in the Patreon and ask them if we should post it live.
No.
Yeah, you say that.
No, this is not going to go live. Don't ask them. They'll say yes.
Right.
We have to have something, of course, because the
Rio,
reason they're supporting
how do we get more supporters?
The reason
if our supporters say post this, how could we say no?
You have to have something that's for them.
And if we ask them if we should send this weirdness out
They'll
to the
say
populace,
yes, but they're wrong.
dude, you're literally running yourself into a corner made of glass.
I know. But like, dude, we have to have something that's just for them. And the Buzzed Book Club, the first one of which is called
that. I mean, we should definitely do that.
Eating Babies.
Nope.
This is sacred.
No.
This is sacred.
This is sacred. We're only gonna eat the black babies.
Oh my god!
You know what's funny?
If a conservative had said that, they would have taken the joke very differently.
That's where he fucking found the line weird. I just want to point that out. That's where it got weird for real.
I just draw the line at being
no. White babies was fine. Black babies, he freaked the fuck out.
Cannibal, you should, if you're going to be a cannibal of business, you should at least be racially blind about it.
Oh no.
Like, don't bring identity politics into this perfectly wholesome baby eating, man.
Oh shit. For the record, there has never been.
There is no way in hell this will see the Republic. But if
I don't know. Have you met me? I am
Corey,
not okay.
I say no.
Okay. For the record, I will only do what you say until I disagree.
I am the boss.
That's true. You're smarter than I am.
No, I'm not. I'm just the boss. There's a difference, man. Like every good working class Joe knows that the boss is a fucking idiot. That's why the Dilbert comics were really popular.
For the record, did you just call me working class Joe and that you're the boss? I'm posting this tomorrow.
You are not working class.
Thank you. No, that's awesome.
You are a less whiny Kerouac, which is like the coolest form of human being.
Okay, for the record, you totally just brought me back in. I was going to post this live tomorrow for fun. Like the second, because I think I've said this before. Like Jack Kerouac was a whiny cunt. He really is. And I said cunt, and I said it on purpose, and I feel bad about it, but not bad about it enough to edit. So that's a thing that's happening. Jack Kerouac was a whining shit. Like he literally is like, oh, suffering, blah, blah, blah. Like that's the entire relevance of Buddhism, but it's not.
Corey,
sorry.
I'm starting to get jealous about you and my wife because
what?
You guys hang out. You're going to hit it off so much. She literally says exactly the same stuff. She's like, Kerouac is overrated, whiny hack.
I can't
wait.
Like
that is something that my wife could have said verbatim.
Oh my god, that is amazing. So I'm excited. I'm excited hanging out there. Yeah, no.
Each other.
We're good though. Like I'm like there's married and then there's like acidinely married, and that's the one that I am. But like in a good way. Yeah, I lucked out, man. Like
if you guys want to meet our wives, the only way you'll do it.
It's the camping trip.
Looking for a camping trip.
Because I was like, yeah.
Because frankly, our wives are like way too cool to.
Legit. There is. I can't get my wife on camper for anything.
Like there are better half. Let's be honest about
That's
it.
a fact. That's just true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, honestly, if for no other reason, I'd be like, Rio's amazing. Fuck you. I'll fight anyone.
Yeah, but that's only because you haven't met my wife.
No, that's literally because.
Oh.
Yeah, it's why.
Yeah, totally. But you guys, seriously, you don't have to do anything. We appreciate you. The fact that you listen to us, the fact that you care about what's going on. You're amazing.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It really is. So, for the record, I know church is way too early on Sundays for you.
I'll come to your second.
No. That doesn't. I mean, I honestly, for the record, I totally want you to come because
I want to be a guest preacher.
Yes. Seriously.
But at first, I want to listen to a couple of your sermons.
Well, and the sermons, I'm good at English. The sermons are they're pretty loose, obviously. So the first one, and we built this weird giant thing, right? And the first bit about it is that we wanted people to focus on Carl Sagan's Pale Blue Dot.
Carl Sagan is it. Yeah, he's the closest to a saint I could think of.
Right.
Yeah.
Us too.
Yeah.
So we played the entire clip of him talking about the pale blue dot. Everyone you know, every tyrant, the whole seriously, the whole thing. We played.
The reason I'm laughing is because I want you guys to go to the car. Okay, so our editor friend out there who's really good at editing.
All right.
Okay. I want you to go watch Carl Sagan's Pale Blue Dot, and then I want you to copy that and make that Corey's voice talking about the butterfly and the 3-year-old. But it's the Carl Sagan.
No.
That's the way to go.
I had a point. It's lost now.
No, I just turned you into Carl Sagan, man.
Yeah, but it's not fair because Carl Sagan's amazing.
I mean, don't sell yourself.
I mean, I feel that I have a point about that stuff, but it
no, you do have a point.
I know, but like
genuinely moving, and it was interesting.
Okay,
like you made an emotional story. I hate emotion.
You know what's fucked up? Can I admit something really weird? I also hate emotion, like a lot.
Men hate emotion. Emotion is bullshit. But also like when you make like a 42-year-old man cry and talk about butterflies and 3-year-olds on the internet, that's so cool. It's so pretty. There's something like really beautiful about that.
There's an important truth, I think, in it.
Yeah.
Right. And so cool. Whatever. It's fine. Drugs.
Cheers. Drugs.
Yeah. Like that. But it's a thing that I think about every once in a while. Anyway, so the church thing that we did, the pale blue dot is in it, right? We actually built an entire monument to it. The one thing I wanted to share with anyone who's watching this now, because it wasn't my intention to start a secular church. It was actually my intention with Greg, my progressive buddy, to do interviews in a game. Because Chet was talking about doing games, and I know Seth is talking about doing games all the time. So 2 old fucks were like, hey, let's do an interview up around politics or science or whatever in a game. And we're not going to do Fortnite because we fucking suck. Like, it would just be us dying all the time by 7-year-olds killing us constantly. So we decided to do it in Minecraft. Now, Rio, you're going to love this.
No, but there's nothing more pathetic.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And getting repeatedly pwned by a 7-year-old.
Yeah, you're right. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
Welcome to the generational gap. It's fucking annoying. So
they are way too good at that game.
They really are. All games forever.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a thing we're suffering forever. So, but we really wanted to.
They can't hold their scotch.
No, they fucking suck at drinking, those little cunts. Anyway, so.
Wow. And you wanted to make this public.
Yeah, no, it's going public. I'm cool with it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm all right with it.
Like, the more we protest, the more likely it is somebody will leak it, which would only be good for us. Like, we would get so many listeners out of that, but for the record, we will not leak it.
Okay, just in case anyone's listening at all, because like some people listen to our Patreon stuff, and some people don't give a fuck. If a number of people who actually support us say that I should release this, I just will.
No, you won't.
Yeah, no, I will.
No, you won't.
Look at my face.
I will get on Greyhound bus and cut your dick off in Florida. If
You won't have the time. It's far away.
Okay. Like, don't release it. Like, the reason I'm saying don't release it is because I really, 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 truly believe that we need to have some stuff that's for our patrons.
I agree about that.
And Drunk Us is the most pure form of us that we can give you guys.
Well, and this is why, like, the reason why I posted the way I did. I, again, as a ritually fantastic, probably ridiculous optimist, if our fans are watching this, I always imagine like Bob B looking at this. He's all, whatever, awesome and sharing clips of what we're doing all the time. Looking at this, there is a non-zero probability that our fans would be like, hey, I want more people to see this. And I want more people to see the honesty of this. And the irony of this. And the fact that, honestly, they're making jokes that are fucking bad. Which, for the record, is I don't make good jokes. I make bad jokes.
Bad jokes are the only good kind of jokes.
This is what I keep hearing from people who are smarter than me. So, but at the same time, like, I want to allow for that possibility. Right? Like, if our fans say, why the fuck haven't you released this out loud? Because what happens? Like, honestly, like, if that's a fact. If 7 out of 10 Patreon supporters say, why aren't you releasing this in public? Are you going to say no?
Yeah.
Oh, too bad for you.
You forget that I'm an elitist who doesn't believe in.
That sounds like a you problem. And honestly, like, I am respectful of you as a person who I love, but not that much.
No, but like Corey, here's the thing. We're about to record 5 episodes with world-class guests who are like run the gamut of everything. We're going to release them publicly. We have to save something for
Rio. If I could, and honestly, I would do this immediately. If I could drag you to the Arctic and make you live with me in the Arctic for 2 weeks.
I would do that. You would never drag me. Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
I'll bring my Aussie.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's fun. Where I think this would go.
Dude. Wait. Come over here. We'll charter a yacht and put the dog on it. And we'll just go up the coast. It'll be fabulous.
I was going to be like, man, dude, you're not going to worry about so much about what we release in public to our fans.
No,
and you're like, no.
And I don't.
Hold. Hold on. Let's get a yacht. No. It's fine. Let's get a pretty boat.
I want our fans to like have something, And we've been releasing the video versions of our podcasts, and I think as we grow, when we have 1 million fans, that'll really matter.
I hope so.
I think it will. Yeah. But with the small core group of fans we have right now, I think they're going to really value exclusive content. And I think we need to have something exclusive.
Yeah. And I would want to put
deserve it because
totally do.
Much
Seriously.
like the donor class in the DNC.
Oh shit. Here we go.
They put up the money, man.
Oh. Go on.
That's all I have to say.
Okay.
You guys are the donor class. You guys are the elite. Right? You are the elite of the Moving Forward podcast.
Apparently.
And you deserve exclusive access in the wine cave. And soon we will give you...
Watch. Everyone turns their shit off like, oh my God, I didn't realize I was getting sucked in by the man. Bam!
Yep. Boom. Shakalaka.
For the record, though, it'll be really, really interesting if you all met us to go out camping. Not that I'm going to bring low levels of psilocybin and that it will change the world, but it actually will.
Yeah, we're going to do that. Yeah, we're going to listen to Corey has like a beautiful singing voice. We're going to meet my wife and Corey's wife. Everything's going to be beautiful. And also we are going to save America one camping trip at a time.
I think you're right about that. Not only that, but like, I kind of want to plan one now. I know we're like waiting.
No, I think we have to meet our first goal, which is super realistic.
No, I agree. But like, God damn it. I want that to happen now.
So help us by just telling your not friends and not family, telling the random strangers who follow you on Twitter to support us, and it'll happen in a month or two. It'll be fine.
It could happen. You're right.
It will happen, Corey. It will happen.
All right. Love your optimism.
Yeah.
Andrew Yang,
Is
our taco.